Hey everybody, we are back. In this video, we're going to talk about the constructive and destructive power of suggestion. And what I mean by suggestion, this is our subconscious mind. Okay, our subconscious mind is so powerful. So lots of times when we're trying to manifest, success, we're trying to manifest what we want, our dream house, our dream car, our dream career. It's all personal. It's all just related to us, but our powers get transferred to other people. So this is what we're going to talk about today. So what do I mean by that? What do I mean by our powers get transferred to other people? Okay, we can see what we have to understand. Our powers of our subconscious mind can be used for good and bad, just like any universal law. Now remember, if you've been keeping up with me, our subconscious mind has no filter. It just takes it as is. It's not analytical. Okay, it's not trying to figure out what's best for you. Your subconscious mind only takes it as is. It only gives you what you give it. What you think about all day long, that's what it's giving you. So that's the power of the subconscious mind. We can use it for good and bad, but how can we use it for bad? We know we can use it for bad in our life because we know that, if I think negative and I think negative as a habit, well, eventually that's going to come to me. So let's dive into this. The constructive and destructive power of suggestion. This is a little, maybe a page and a half from The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. So let's start this really quick. This is the powerful weed. You know what I'm saying. It's a powerful read. So get your mind out of the gutter here, even though that's what I said. But anyway, this is a powerful read. So let's get going here. That's why I wanted to share this with you. Some illustrations and comments on heterosuggestion. Heterosuggestion means suggestions from another person. So this is what it means. Like when you're heterosuggestion, like you have powers for yourself. So you can think, what you want for yourself, just like the Neville Goddard technique. Okay, the imagination creates reality. What I imagine, and I imagine it over and over and over, no matter if it's good or bad, that's what's going to come into my life. Okay, but we can do the same thing directed to another person. So this is what it means by heterosuggestion. So heterosuggestion means from another person. Okay, and all ages of power of suggestion has played a part in the life and thought of man in every period of time and in each country of the earth. In many parts of the world, it is controlling power and religion. Suggestion may be used to discipline and control ourselves, but it can also be used to take control and command over others who do not know the laws of the mind. So even Wallace Wattles, if you read The Science of Getting Rich, Wallace Wattles talks about this as well, as far as you can manipulate the universe, okay, to bring you things. When you know this manipulation, you know how the universal laws really work. Well, you can manipulate it good or bad, but he says you want to use it for the good. You don't want to manipulate for the bad as far as controlling another person, either controlling them by physical force or controlling them by mental force. So this is what we're talking about here. We're talking about mental force. We're not talking about physical force, but mentally controlling people. In its constructive form, it is wonderful and magnificent. Okay. In its constructive form, it is wonderful and magnificent. If I could speak English, magnificent. There's going to be like a comedy here a little bit. If I could speak English, maybe it's too early in the morning. But anyway, the laws of the power of the subconscious mind, what he's saying is the power of the subconscious mind is incredible. Okay, it's powerful. It brings us anything we want. But it can be good and it can be destructive. It can be destructive in your own life, but it also can be destructive how you use it to another person. So if I didn't, I have like two or three cameras going on here. So my setup is kind of throwing me off a little bit. So just bear with me here. Because I got things right in front of my face and stuff like that. So my mind's kind of going off in the gutter a little bit. My mind's kind of going off, getting unfocused here. But let's continue. In its constructive form, it is wonderful and magnificent. In its negative aspects, it is one of the most destructive of all the response patterns of the mind, resulting in the patterns of misery, failure, suffering, sickness, and disaster. So let's highlight this really quick. And this is what Joseph Murphy says. It says, in its negative aspects, the power of the subconscious mind, using it for the negative, this is what he says. In its negative aspects, it is one of the most destructive of all response patterns of the mind, resulting in patterns of misery, failure, sickness, and disaster. Okay. Now, even Neville Goddard, I know a lot of you like Neville Goddard. I know a lot of you out there love Neville Goddard, even myself. But even Neville Goddard, in his more advanced, when you get more advanced with law of assumption, is he always gives an example in his audios about you have a best friend. Your best friend is unemployed. He's struggling to find a job. But you go inside your imagination, you don't see your best friend struggling, unemployed, broke, being a brokey, okay, like Andrew Tate. You don't see him in that state. In your mind, in your imagination, you see him as wealthy. He has a terrific job. He has a job that he's passionate about. And on top of that, he's making twice as much money. See, in your mind, you see him where you want to see him, or he wants to be seen. Okay, just like I used to live in Los Angeles. So just like if you go to downtown Los Angeles, you see all the homeless, you walk past the homeless, in your mind, you don't see them as homeless. Okay? In your mind, you see them as wealthy, healthy, and prosperous. So this is what we're talking about here. This is how you can use the power of the subconscious mind for good and bad. Okay, for good and evil. Okay, this is exactly how you use it. So how you use it for yourself is how you can use it for another person. Have you accepted any of these? So what Joseph Murphy is saying, now he's going to get a little bit more descriptive on what he means. Now, have you done this? I've done this. You know, even when you have family get-togethers, maybe you have an alcoholic in a family. You have somebody that abuses alcohol, and you can see them ruining their life. All their income goes towards that alcohol. But what do? You go to a family gathering, you sit around the table, and you talk about Uncle John, how Uncle John struggles with alcohol. But when you do that, you have to realize what you're doing. Okay, when you're talking like that in a negative sense about Uncle John struggling with alcohol, you're actually holding him to that bondage of alcohol. You're not helping him. You're actually holding him to that, because the powers of your thought, you're thinking of him in that way, the powers of your thought, especially doing it in a group, keeps them bound to alcohol. Rather than what would happen if, listen to this. What would happen if we had a family gathering, and besides thinking negative and discussing Uncle John as an alcoholic, we sit around the table and say blessings for Uncle John. He conquered alcohol. His life is a blessing. He has wealth, health, and prosperity now. What do you think those types of words would influence Uncle John? Okay, this is what we're doing, but we always flip to the negative. We always do the negative. Okay, the negativity is so natural to us. I mean, it's hard to say, why are we drawn to the negative? Why is my mind always drawn to the negative side? And sometimes I have my own little beliefs why, but this isn't the time to get into it. But anyway, have you accepted any of these? Have you done any of these where you're thinking negative about another person? From infancy on, the majority of us have been giving many negative suggestions. Now he's going way back. He's talking about when you're an infant, when you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, you're 7. He's saying from infancy on, the majority of us have been given many negative suggestions, not knowing how to thought them. We unconsciously accepted them. I mean, isn't it so true? As a baby, whatever thoughts are given to you by your parents, what you're observing and overhearing conversations, even though you don't know what they truly mean, you're still observing and hearing it over and over and over. And you just accept, as a kid, as a baby, as a child, you just accept it as true. That's what we do. You accept it as true. And then he goes on, he says, here are some of the negative suggestions. You can't. You never amount to anything. You mustn't. You're fail. You haven't got a chance. You're all wrong. It's no use. It's not what you know, but who you know. I've heard that. I've heard that one a lot. It's not what you know, Chad. It's who you know. It's the connections you have. You can't just become a millionaire. Lucky people become a millionaire. Lucky people have success. Have you heard any of these? And he continues. The whole paragraph is just things that we heard growing up. Okay, You're all wrong. It's no use. It's not what you know, but who you know. The world is going to the dogs. Okay, that's an old phrase. Okay, remember Joseph Murphy. He's not. I mean, he's no longer with us, so he's taken back from his day. What's the use? Nobody cares. It's no use of trying so hard. You're too old now. That's a huge one. You're too old to do that. Or isn't it funny how even our parents or their parents get older and even our grandparents, they tell us that oh, it's too old for me. It's too old for me to go back to college. It's too old for me to start a new career. But you should do it. They try to they try to get you to do it, but they're falling in the same trap themselves. They let that little thing get in their head that they're too old. But you're not too old. You're not too old to start over. You're not too old to start something you love. You're never too old. It's all the fear in your mind. It's made up. That's what you have to understand. It's made up in your mind. Things are getting worse and worse. Life is an endless grind. Love is for the birds. Especially life is for the endless grind. Like life has to be hard. You have to work hard to earn money. You have to do what you don't love. Okay, work is just work. Okay, you have to hate work. Now, that's kind of how I was brought up. You have to hate work because I was brought up in a small town. I was brought up pretty much, you're surrounded by small towns, but these small towns are factory towns. So if you grew up like me in a small town, you know what I'm talking about. When you grow up in factory towns, nobody really loves their job. Nobody really loves, working in a factory where you're treated where the whole environment's like the 1950s. Okay. So I get you on that, but that's how I grew up, or that's at least the environment what I grew up in. Okay, you have to work hard. You have to do the hard grind. You don't love what you do. You don't do what you're passionate about. Work is just work. Love is for the birds. You just can't win. Pretty soon we'll be bankrupt. Okay, especially when you talk about money. Some of these we'll say it over and over, or we'll say it, in a different way, a different phrase. Oh, we're going to go broke, or we're going to spend too much money. We're going to go bankrupt one of these days. What you're doing subconsciously, you say things in habit, but it's going to end up coming true. Because remember, your subconscious mind doesn't play favorites. Your subconscious mind just takes it as true. It takes it as fact. What you give it, it's giving you. Okay, you have to be very careful on what you say. Okay, the last one here is watch out, you'll get the virus. That's probably perfect for the pandemic here, when we're all over the post-pandemic. You can't trust a soul, meaning you can't trust people. Unless, as an adult, you use constructive autosuggestion, which is a reconditioning therapy, the impressions made on you in the past can cause behavior patterns that cause failure in your personal and social life. Autosuggestion is a means releasing you from the mass of negative verbal conditioning that might otherwise distort your life pattern, making the development of good habits difficult. Now, what Joseph Murphy means about autosuggestion, he means when he's using the term autosuggestion, he really means you're influencing your subconscious mind. You're either going inside your imagination and you're imagining the scene how you want the scene to be, just like you're imagining your dream house, your dream car, you're imagining your dream salary, okay, your dream job, your dream career. Okay, that's what he's talking about. Like, this is how you influence your subconscious mind. That's what he means when he says autosuggestion is you're reconditioning yourself, okay, from these old beliefs and old patterns and old thought patterns. Or even when you influence your subconscious mind, even if you lay down, the bed's right behind me. This is my little nook area, my office in the bedroom here. But anyway, when you influence your subconscious mind, most of us already know you influence it when we get in a sleepy state. Either you're going to lay down for a nap, or you don't go to sleep at night. So it's really what you're thinking about and what you're imagining, honestly, about 5 minutes before you go to sleep. And with autosuggestion, he's also, Joseph Murphy was kind of the king of affirmations or robotic affirmations. He was really the king of writing affirmations for people, making it where it basically causes no conflict in their mind. Okay, that's the great use of affirmations. But anyway, that's what he means about autosuggestion. Meaning, like, when you notice these negative patterns or constructive patterns in your life or constructive thinking patterns that you have, you can change it. You can flip it. You can revise your day. You can do different autosuggestion techniques that influence your subconscious mind, like imagination. Imagination Creates Reality by Neville Goddard. Or you can go into affirmations or robotic affirmations. Now, this is the last little section here. You can counteract negative suggestions. So now he's kind of getting a little bit more detailed, probably what I just explained here. So he says, pick up the paper any day and you read dozens of items that could sow the seeds of fertility, fear, worry, anxiety, and impending doom. But now, nowadays, most of us don't read the paper, but most of us have our iPhone, iPad, or where we're on YouTube watching, we're on all the social media. And even though we wish social media was all positive, it's not. So that's really our new newspaper nowadays in 2024. Back in the day, that's how people got all the news, is from the newspaper. So that's why he says, pick up the newspaper any day and you can read dozens of items that could sow seeds of fertility, fear, worry, anxiety, and impending doom. If accepted by you, if you accept it, and what he really means by accepted by you, when you accept something, you accept it as true. You expect it to happen. This is what Joseph Murphy means. When I accept something to be true, okay, and I really believe it's going to be true, well, no matter positive or negative, that's going to come into my life. Bottom line. Okay, what you believe is coming into your life, okay? So basically, it doesn't mean that I'm right or you're wrong. We're both right. This is what we have to understand. We're both right. What I believe will be proven to me in my 3D world, and what you believe will be proven to you in your 3D world. So let's continue on. If accepted by you, these thoughts of fear could cause you to lose the will for life. Knowing that you can reject all these negative suggestions by giving your subconscious mind constructive auto-suggestions, you counteract all the destructive ideas. So here in the last sentence here of this paragraph, let me highlight this. Knowing that you can reject all these negative suggestions by giving your subconscious mind constructive auto-suggestions. So now he's using this word auto-suggestion again. Like either he's using it in a way of revising your day. Okay, he's not saying revising your day because he's a little bit different from Neville Goddard. Okay, they train the same things. They teach the same, but they just teach it in a different way. Okay, but what auto-suggestion, either revise your day using affirmations right before sleep. 5 minutes before you go to sleep, you should be repeating your affirmations over and over and over like robotic style until you drift off to sleep. This is how you influence your subconscious mind. This is the simple way to influence a subconscious mind. Let's keep this simple, by the way. Okay, now I know some people teach Neville Goddard and they tell you, you got to go to bed 30 minutes before you go to sleep. So you give yourself plenty of time to get into that state. Now, if you take this stuff really serious, that's what you might do. But for a lot of us, it's literally like 5 minutes before we go to bed. Okay, 5 minutes before you go to bed is what I'm thinking about. That's what's going to influence my subconscious mind. Check regularly on the negative suggestions that people make to you. Okay, he's talking about awareness here. Be aware. Be aware of your own thoughts, but also be aware of other people, how they're talking to you. Check regularly on negative suggestions that people make to you. You do not have to be influenced by destructive heterosuggestion. Now remember, heterosuggestion means that thoughts that's transferred from another person. Either through conversation, I'm having a conversation with you, and what you're saying to me, those are thoughts transferred from another person. This is what he means again by heterosuggestion. All of us have suffered from it in our childhood and in our teens. If you look back, you can easily recall how parents, friends, relatives, teachers, and associates contributed in a campaign of negative suggestions. Isn't this so true? You know what I mean? I bring this up in a lot of my videos, is that what we have to understand is that by the time we're 7, this is when all of our beliefs are formed. And I know some of you out there don't want to believe it, but if you actually research it, okay, you can just go on Google and research it. If you go on Google and research it, you'll find that I'm telling the truth, or at least from the research, I'm telling the truth. All psychologists agree by the time we're 7, okay, this is when our major beliefs are formed, our deep-rooted beliefs. And where are all of our beliefs coming from? It's coming from right here when Joseph Murphy just said it. And I'm right here in this paragraph, how I'm reading it right there. And he says, if you look back on your childhood, if you look back on you going to school, you can easily recall how your parents, your friends, your relatives, your teachers, your associates, your mentors and coaches, maybe you played t-ball, you played baseball or soccer, contributed any campaign of negative suggestions. Study the things said to you, and you will discover how much of it in the form of propaganda. The purpose of much of what was said was to control you or to instill fear into you. Isn't it so true? Okay, now a lot of it we're hearing, we're just picking up, maybe as an adult, maybe you grew up in poverty, or maybe your parents in those development years from year 0 to 7 were in poverty, or they struggled with money, or they argued about money all the time, or they were stressed about money, and you pick that up as a child. Now as an adult, you think in that same pattern of being in poverty. Money is hard. Money is come by. Money is tough. Okay, it's coming from way back what you heard from your environment at that time. Okay, we're so impressionable from 0 to 7 years old. Major impressionable. Okay, we're always observing and listening. We might not be able to carry on a sophisticated conversation being a 5-year-old, but we're constantly observing and listening. Okay, and those words are going deep down inside us. So let's wrap this up. We got one more little paragraph here. This heterosuggestion process goes on in every home, office, factory, and club. You will find that many of these suggestions are for the purpose of making you think, feel, and act as others want you to, and in ways that are in their advantage. Joseph Murphy is kind of at the end here, is kind of twisting it for how people can use it to manipulate you, especially as a child, is make you think the way that they think. Okay, this is why we have, kind of my brain's kind of going off on, if you're in generational poverty, okay, or generational middle class, or a generational upper class, or a generational wealthy. Even if you grew up where your family was wealthy, but more likely you're going to be wealthy. Okay, so in all these different classes, if you grew up in poverty, there's a strong chance you're going to struggle with poverty in your life, because that's how you were conditioned growing up. You're just taking on the same conditioning you have from your parents, from your brothers and sisters, especially if they were older than you, your aunts and uncles, your cousins. Then a lot of us go to school listen to this. A lot of us go to school since we're 3 years old. We're in some type of daycare. Then we go to preschool. Then we go to kindergarten since we're like 3 because our parents work. So we're being influenced all the way around, even outside of our family, outside of our parents. So to really wrap this up, the takeaway I want you to take away from here is that, when we're trying to manifest and we're trying to influence our subconscious mind, it's just not about you. Okay. Yes, in the beginning it is. It's just about me. It's just about Chad. Okay. But later on, as you develop more higher consciousness, it's about other people too. It's how I think about other people. I'm influencing that as well, and they're influencing you if you let them to, or if you want to react to it, they can influence you, okay, rather than you respond to it. But that's what you have to understand. You have the same power that gives you, listen to this, the same power that gives you your dream house, your dream car, your dream salary, you want to be a multimillionaire, is the same power you have to influence other people. How you think about them, how you see them in your mind. Okay, do you see Uncle Tim as an alcoholic, or do you see Uncle Tim in your mind, your imagination, as being healthy, whole, at peace, wealth, healthy, and prosperity? That's how you see them. Okay, because it's how you see them that either you break that curse for them, or you keep them bound. Okay, do you want to keep them bound to where they are, or do you want to help them break that curse? Okay, the way you help them break that curse is how you see them in your own mind. So the same power you have for yourself is the same power you have for other people. That's the takeaway here. But other than that, my friends, thanks for hanging in. I know I kind of there's certain funny points in here because I got multiple cameras going on, but and they're sitting right up on top of me and stuff like that, so it throws me off a little bit. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. Comment below. Love to hear from you. Remember, I love you guys. Blessings to you, and I'll see you in the next video.